update on testing for 2019, a performance review, the regular weather report, people update, and shout-outs. So without further ado, I'll introduce Loren and Nicole to talk about the customer satisfaction survey.
Hi everyone, it's us again. This time, Nicole is gonna kick it off. So Nicole, take it away.
Perfect. All right. You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So as we kind of mentioned last week, we did a customer satisfaction survey about a month ago, I think. I don't know. I've been dreaming customer satisfaction survey for the last few weeks. So what we wanted to do was share some of the results with everybody and go through it. So I'm going to try to, there's a lot here, so I'm going to try to get through it quick, but then if there's any questions, please let me know.
Oh, sorry.
You're in control. Okay. So just to kind of go through like why we decided to do the customer satisfaction, we wanted to really get like a better overall understanding of the product as well as of the satisfaction of the product from our current members, as well as get like a deeper look into some of the individual feature satisfaction from our current members. We also wanted to create a benchmark because this is not just like a one-time survey that we're doing. This is something that we're going to be continuously doing as we go. And so this will actually allow us to look back and see where our satisfaction gets better, worse, hopefully not, down the path. And then we also wanted to gain insight into whether or not our current value props resonate with our members. So you're going to see when Lauren gets into it a little bit, it wasn't just about like the product and the features, but we also dove into the value props a little bit. Overall, we found that the satisfaction among event industries freelancers is really good, but slightly lower among non-event freelancers. Our highest rated features and value props support both HoneyBook's focus on the core booking process for this upcoming quarter. And our top 3 value props are look professional, keep organized, and automate your process.
And just a quick note, there's a difference between the CSAT that the member experience team measures, which is kind of like how good the service was, and this, which is basically the satisfaction with the product.
Yes. No, thank you. And so just to kind of go through how we went ahead and did this, we sent this survey to a random sample of 5,500 plus current active HoneyBook members. And we received almost 900 responses with like a 15% response rate, which is pretty amazing. No incentive or anything here. In addition to capturing some of the demographic data, we asked a few key questions around their overall satisfaction, satisfaction of specific features in agreement with the key value props. We then actually took all of the response data that we received from the survey and we matched it up with our own data on the back end. So we looked at their amount of transactions in the last 12 months, how long they've been using HoneyBook, average number of bookings per month, and looked to see like were there differences amongst the data we have, like with the cohorts. And so we're going to kind of go through, and I'm going to go through the satisfaction and the features, and then Lauren will take it from there to go through some of the value props. So overall satisfaction, we received a 67% of people that were satisfied with the product overall, which is pretty good. We looked at the difference between event and non-event freelancers, and that we noticed that the event freelancers were slightly higher than the non-event freelancers, which just means that there's a few things that we still need to do within the product to better serve the non-event freelancer audience. We also looked at their years in business, and one thing that we realized is that people that are using the platform that have been in business under a year are more satisfied with us than some of the older businesses that we're catering to. We then looked at, this is from our data on the back end of their annual revenue. And so we found that satisfaction was pretty stable across all of the different revenue levels, but there is a little bit of a peak in that 25 to 50,000 annual revenue area. And so it just kind of shows that like as the businesses are growing, they're still really enjoying the product across the board. And then we looked at how many bookings they do per month. So this is from inquiry to actually booked. Businesses that have 10 to 20 bookings per month are the most satisfied. It does appear that once they get over that 20 bookings per month, it does drop a little bit. So this is something that we're looking into as to why that number kind of drops in satisfaction. And so now we're going to kind of go through a few of the features. This wasn't just like an overall arching, how satisfied are you with our features in general? We actually dove into the individual features to try to understand what are the features that our members are valuing and which ones do they wish that we are not quite as satisfied with. So when we look at our top features, they're all related to the core booking process. So the top 3 features with the highest satisfaction rating are contracts, proposals, and invoicing. And this is like the general consensus, even when we break it into all the different like cohorts and categories of people, the core booking process is always right there at the top. And then if we look at the features by years in business, we see that it does vary a little bit with the top 4 features. Contracts are definitely in there for all of them, but while contracts remain like a common thread, in early businesses are more satisfied with the client communication, while later stage businesses are more satisfied with the payment processing. And we figure this is probably because they're presumably managing a higher revenue business. We also looked, and this is just something that we wanted to note, we looked at the top features between event and non-event freelancers, and we found that they both have like very similar satisfaction in the features for the top 6. So there was no differentiator between what features event and non-event freelancers are satisfied with, which is amazing. When looking at the top transacting members, among members that transact over 100K annually, you'll see that the ease of payment processing rises as one of the top rated features, which is the one area where this feature does go to the very top, is those higher revenue businesses. And then if we look at the bottom features, so where people were least satisfied, we did see that there was the mobile app, email deliverability, and client communication. And with the mobile app, we have a few theories, and actually there's a lot of comments in the CSAT that back it up. But we found that with the mobile app, pretty much most of the complaints against it are that there's a lack of Android app, and then that they just wish there was the inability to have the same functionality as the desktop. So just that they can't necessarily do everything they can do on desktop. When looking at the bottom features for event and non-event freelancers, there is a little bit of differentiators in there. So for the non-event, it is the mobile app, time tracker, tasks, and brochure, which are some of the features that we've been really working on for those industries. And then with the event freelancers, it's mobile app, email deliverability, communications, and integrations. So more of that communication and back and forth that we see them doing more often than the non-event. And this is obviously a lot of words on a little sheet, but if there is a link in this doc where you can actually see all of the open comments, I just had to share this one because someone actually took the time to put like a study about Android and why they really want it. But if you go to the top, there's view all comments, and you can read through and see what are all of the open comments that the members left, and they're all tagged by different features, which is nice because you can kind of just hear it straight from their mouth. And now Lauren is going to take over.
Well, thank you, Nicole. Yeah, so we also asked our members about value props and what they found the most valuable in our product. And so the 3 top that we found was looking professional, staying organized, and automating my process. And same as with the features, we looked at it from different cuts. So we did event versus non-event, honeybook tenure, number of projects, and years in business. And this was consistent across all these cuts, which again is a good thing because that means that that's something that resonates with them, and we can go to market with one message, and it's likely going to be good for all of our audiences. So that's a good thing. The one thing that was different was for members that contacted over 100,000 in the last 12 months. And here, what's really cool to see is that they actually felt that Honeybook was core to the success of their business, which is great because that means that they are happy with us, or they won't churn, and that we're actually providing a lot of value for them. So it's really cool to see. And then you saw this slide last week as well, but kind of here, kind of trying to compare features and value props from this study, the CSAT, and then also the pricing study. We see that the part of like in terms of features, the contract proposal invoicing came up high, both as part of like what people are happy with Honeybook, and also what's important to them. So that's really good because we are actually solving and satisfying a need that is real in the market, and we're doing it well. The other two things that came up from the pricing study is the lead management part and the reporting and analytics. And then in terms of value props, there's a very clear difference here. So for our members, what they're seeing is that they look more professional, they keep themselves, like it helps them keep organized and it automates their process. But what they said was important to them was an all-in-one business management tool and book more clients. So again, this is something that we're looking deeper into with the second round of the pricing study, and then also with some messaging tests that we're doing. So moving on to NPS, we also asked the NPS question. In case you're not super familiar with NPS, this is a standard question that basically is how likely are you to recommend Honeybook to a friend or colleague? And this is standard, like that's the standard question, and that's why it's easy to benchmark against other people that are also serving NPS. So one thing that's interesting here is that with this audience that completed the survey, our NPS is 43, slightly higher for event freelancers, which was 47, and slightly lower for non-event freelancers at 30. So this is different from the number that we're used to seeing. And the reason for this is for one is that the audience here is a little older in their tenure with us. So about 75% of the users that completed this survey have been with Honeybook for more than 6 months, whereas the other NPS is like skews a little bit towards newer members. And the other thing is that before we ask the NPS question here, we ask them how satisfied are you with Honeybook. So that kind of changes the mindset of the user when they are answering the next question. So I think that's why there's a difference between this and what we're used to seeing. This is still a very good NPS. So I just want to make that super clear. This is really good. The benchmark in the industry is 43 for technology companies, or even 34 for all technology. So it's good. It's good. It's just not what we're used to seeing, I guess. So that's kind of what we learned from these studies. And so the recommendations and next steps here are that we're going to run CSAT every 6 months to kind of keep a pulse on how we're doing. There's some small optimizations that we want to, and improvements that we want to do for the survey methodology. So we want to align value props to pricing research and align segmentation to also our personas that we talked about last week, so that everything is aligned. And we are researching our most important features through the pricing study. In terms of product roadmap, good news is that the things that came out low in the CSAT are things that we are actually working during Q4. So that's great to see. We're working on mobile, we're working on brochures, we're not so much on client communication, but that's something that we're looking to dig deeper in 2019, as well as reporting and time tracking. So we're, I think, in a good path. And then in terms of marketing recommendations, again, good news is the same high-level messaging can be used for event and non-event freelancers. And as I mentioned before, we're incorporating some of these value props that we know are good are resonating with our members into our messaging testing as well. And then kind of start learning about how we can message and target new businesses better. That's it.
A big thank you to Loren and Nicole, who have been doing a ton of work on this, and it's yielding a lot of great insights. and is a nice segue into an update that we wanted to give on testing and research for 2019. So last week, we spoke at a high level about this and mentioned that there's a series of tests and research that we want to conduct really quickly so that we can get insights into key metrics that are going to help with 2019 planning. And we want to get confidence in those projections as we're looking at 2019 and what we think we can accomplish next year. So wanted to add a little more color and detail to that. Here's a list of tests that and research projects that we have already kicked off and that are in motion. It's actually not comprehensive. There's a few more things on this, but it wouldn't fit neatly on this slide. You can see we've got 4 things off the ground already. We spoke to you last week about some of the research that the executive team is doing, reaching out to ex-trialers and actually conducting interviews with them. So we're consolidating that feedback, and that should have a readout on what we learned there later this week. We also launched a survey to ex-trialers. It's up and running. Should have significant results from that, hopefully in a week or 2. Have also reached out to unactivated members and are trying to interview those people. And recently just launched a updated version of the onboarding quiz, which has proven a really valuable tool when you connect the data that we're getting from that with things like the CSAT and the pricing and packaging research. Those things really help us triangulate some good insights. So there's a number of other things here I won't go through, but know that there's a number of teams that are working really hard to get this. Please help them out if you can. And we're trying to get this as quick as possible. One other thing we wanted to share, as we go through these tests and are trying to get these insights, we've crystallized a few basic questions that we're really trying to answer about our prospective members and our existing customers. And we believe, we've boiled it down to this because we believe if we can answer these questions about these people, then we're going to have a really good read on, are they a good fit for our product? And if so, how can we help them? What are the barriers, etc. So we'll circulate a doc after this that has these and the answers actually written out so that if you're doing research, you can add this to your research plan. But it's basically, we want to figure out how long they've been in business. Are they full, part-time, or trying to go full-time? And this one's interesting because the persona work we're doing, this is a big divider between a couple of the personas, the people who are like just happy having a little side gig, but the people who have a side gig but want to make it full-time. How many leads and new projects do they get in a month? And how long does it take them to book that lead? So we believe that if you don't have a lot of leads, we're probably not going to be as valuable a product to you. And if it's a really simple, easy process to close those, again, probably not as much value coming from us. So we want to identify that. Looking at their annual revenue, and are they providing a service or selling a good or doing both? Again, if they're providing a service, great fit. If it's just selling a good, probably not. If it's some hybrid, then we can help you out. And then looking at the work that we're doing, what are the value props that these people are looking for? So these are the questions that we're trying to answer. If you're doing any work on research or testing, we'll circulate this doc to you so that you can use the exact same wording so that we can get consistent feedback across these studies. On to performance. So on trialers, we're just above plan. Had a good week last week. On wins, however, we're trending under goal. We did have a stronger week last week, but we're at 90% of plan currently. As of the end of last night, we're at 770 wins. So that means we need 43.3 day to hit 900. Now, that's not our ultimate goal. However, as we talked about in the past, showing momentum is like really important as well. And 900 would be a significant milestone that we've never hit as a company before. So something good to shoot for. Now, 43.3, how are we going to do that? That's impossible It's not really. If you look at the recent kind of daily trends, we've hit in the 40s a number of times. A few weeks ago, we hit 3 days in the 40s in a row. We've hit 43. Last week, we started off really strong. So this is definitely doable if we can just kind of string it together in 3 days. So pull out all the stops and let's try to break 900. Looking at the funnel view, visitors relatively flat week over week. Leads were down quite a bit. That's driven actually mostly because we had such a lift last week from the gallery promo, and we didn't have that last week, so that came down. Trailers relatively flat, slightly up, and wins stronger last week, driven mostly by an increase in the paid channel. Wedding spot, strong week, and back above goal at 102%, which is great. Spot estimates are down slightly due to seasonality. And on the booking side, a strong week for renewals across the board. So good work. Now on to the weather report.
Thanks, Dan. All right, how are we gonna hit 43 wins a day this week? So we got a couple of things going on. First thing I'm gonna start out with is something that's going on all this week. Ooh, ugly title, beautiful gift. So this is Frankenstein. He has all sorts of different systems. He's all disheveled, and then he switches over to HoneyBook and he's buttoned up and he's very happy. So this is the spooky Halloween promo. Promo code SPOOKY gets you 50% off HoneyBook, and that's going out across all our channels this week with social pushes, emails, text trailers, and the Drift chat when you get to the website is letting people know about it right up front. So far, this was up live over the weekend, and we have 10 wins already. So this is going this week. Everyone should know about it, and we'll be pushing really hard on this. Today, we got an educator social push. Tomorrow, we're going back to our WMBA attendee list with another nurture, which is a broader audience than the first time around, which we've also already seen a win from. And then on Wednesday, a few things. Activation test. So this is pushing account building. This is part of the 2019 testing, but this is pushing account building in the product to subscribe members a little bit more aggressively with some pop-up notifications in the product to see if we can get more people to build their accounts and then activate. Blog posts and a content newsletter, also on Wednesday. Okay, so Thursday, this is, again, first of the month in November. This is a big, big, big thing that we're launching. It's the annual gift guide. This is evergreen content that is a bunch of posts about what types of gifts to give in different categories. I think you guys might recognize the top right one in the home and lifestyle, the image there. So this is the gift guide. It's going to be pushed on social. It's going to be sent out via email. All our channels are promoting this. And it's actually tied into the theme of the month, which is Philanthropy Month. So you guys might not know this, but the annual gift guide, which highlights artists and makers in the HoneyBook community and the Rising Tide community, has already raised $5,000 for direct relief. So the way that that works is, in order to nominate someone to be included in the gift guide, you donate 20 bucks directly to direct relief. It's a non-refundable thing. And in that way, we're sort of kicking off our month that's really focused on Thanksgiving, giving back, and being grateful. So those two things are going out on Thursday. And I'll hand it back to Dan for the people update.
Thanks, Richard. All right, so this week, light on birthdays, but we have a couple big honeyversaries. 2 years to Jess Ang and Riley. Tel Aviv is going to be out tomorrow, so make proper plans. Sabrina will be giving an update on content marketing. Got the day off Wednesday to prepare for Halloween. And then Kate is going to be talking about Philanthropy Month. So get a little more color on what Richard just mentioned. And then we've got benefits open enrollment with Allie. We have a special visitor, Tal. Welcome to San Francisco. And we also have another new permanent visitor who arrived this weekend. So congrats to Ariana, who gave birth to a beautiful baby boy at 3 a.m. on Sunday, and she's feeling great. I will start shout-outs with a shout-out to Ian and his parents for a wonderful career fireside chat Friday that I felt. Tel Aviv? All right, let's get after it.